Ian Balina is someone who lost $2.5 million while live streaming on YouTube. And he's my guest today. He's one of the most controversial personalities in the cryptocurrency field and the community as a whole. And today, whether you love him or you hate him, my goal with this interview is to get as much as I can out of Ian to understand who he really is, his journey from Uganda to the US, why he left his secure job at IBM as a data analyst to go full on into cryptocurrencies and ICOs in particular, which is something that I think considered to be super risky. How he made his millions, how he lost $2.5 million, and how he kept his cool, and what keeps him going moving forward after all of this happening to him and after all the cryptocurrency community really going after him. So we talk about his upcoming project Token Metrics. We talk about how his team are using AI and machine learning to create investment strategies for top tokens. And if they're just using these as buzzwords, I'm going to actually ask him this. Again, regardless of what you think of Ian, you're going to love this interview. Let me know what you think after you watch the interview. Go in the comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you took away from the interview. I'm hoping you're going to take away about security and securing your investments, because you don't want to be losing $2.5 million like Ian did, right? And give it a thumbs up if you love it. Subscribe to my channel. This is my new channel and we're trying to grow it. I appreciate you tuning in. Let's go say hi to Ian.
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you here. So for those of you who don't really, you're famous for a bunch of things, all right, in the cryptocurrency field, and people know your name. Can you tell us a little bit about your backstory? Like, where did you come from? How did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, so I was born in Kampala, Uganda as a kid. Then early on when I was 2, my parents moved to the UK. Then when I was 8, moved to America, and I've been in America for the last 20 something years.
All right, now you gave your age away. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm known for being very, very transparent, sometimes almost to a fault. But my background is as an engineer, as a computer engineer, bachelor's and master's.
High five, me too.
Nice, high five. And after graduate school, went to work at Deloitte Consulting as an IT consultant. Then I was there briefly, then crossed over and went to IBM. And I worked at IBM for 4 years. My first 3 years, I was a technical sales engineer in the IBM Analytics brand, covering products like IBM Watson, SPSS, and such. Then my last year, I was IBM sales executive for open source analytics, covering all of North America. So helping
IBM?
Yeah, so helping.
That's pretty cool.
And I worked in data, right? Data was my passion. I love data. I even got featured in the Wall Street Journal for using IBM Watson Analytics to predict my March Madness bracket. So
wait, so you said data was my passion. Is data still your passion? Because data is still pretty big. Okay, that's good.
I'll fix that. Data is still my passion.
Okay.
So I got involved in crypto around 2016. A friend of mine came to me and said, "Hey, Ian, I see IBM is doing lots of big things in the blockchain space. I would like to meet the IBM director for blockchain." And I asked him, "Why do you care about this?" Right? And he told me that he was a Bitcoin developer. He was launching a crypto fund. And that really got my attention, because he was my age, late 20s, launching a hedge fund. I didn't know anybody that age launching a hedge fund, especially one for Bitcoin and crypto. So that got my attention, because before that, I thought cryptocurrencies were just for Silk Road and bad actors, people doing bad things. I had no idea you could actually invest in and speculate in cryptocurrencies. So as somebody who was already invested in the market, I had a very high appetite for risk. I was an entrepreneur. I had dabbled in penny stocks. So when he told me he was making 200 to 300, 100%, from just hodling Bitcoin and Ethereum and these random currencies, it told me, you know what, I have to try this out. So I went and joined Coinbase. I put $100 into Bitcoin, $100 into Ethereum. Then I said, okay, now I want a fractional piece of something. Let me educate myself about this. So I hopped on Amazon and found the two best books I could find, Digital Gold and The Age of Cryptocurrency.
Oh, by Mark. Yeah, actually, he was a guest. He was one of the first guests on Diva on the Block. He's one of my good friends. Awesome book for sure.
Yeah, so I read those two books. They made me a believer. After those two books, I was all in on crypto. I put my money into crypto. So I would say January, February 2017, I kind of went all in. For me at that time, I began dollar cost averaging into crypto. I put in about, I think, a couple grand into Ethereum and Bitcoin. But at that time, I put in, I think it was about $2,500 into Ethereum. Then Ethereum announced the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, where they're working with companies like Citibank, Microsoft, JP Morgan, and the Ethereum price doubled in a week and a half. So I doubled my money in a week and a half. And that was, at that time, the fastest.
So this is the beginning of the bubble, basically.
Yes, yeah, the beginning of the bubble. And I said, guys, you know what? Sell everything, go all in. And I began really becoming obsessed with crypto. I was working my 9-to-5 job, then from 6 to midnight and beyond, I was doing crypto investing, trading, research. I went to my first cryptocurrency conference. That was Token Summit. That was spring 2017. For the first time, I met people in the crypto space in real life, because before then I was just following
On the
news.
computer, just researching the words. Yep.
In person and meeting people in person really made me a bigger believer, because these people were smart, they're credible. They weren't just people from Silk Road. So the big thing I took away from that conference were ICO investing. All the crypto millionaires I met made their money from ICO investing at that conference.
Yeah.
Right? Projects like Ethereum ICO, MadeSafe ICO. I said, okay, you know what? Maybe I should stop trading. Maybe I have to check into this ICO thing. So after the conference, I began investing in almost any ICO that could work, to a point where I made some money, but not as much money as I would like, because my goal was to quit my job that year. Within 12 months was to quit my job at IBM and become fully self-employed, to have financial freedom.
So let me put some notes here, by the way. So first of all, 2016, that is pretty late for majority of the faces that we see in cryptocurrency, but that coincidentally is also the year that I got involved in cryptocurrency, because just like you, from back in 2011, my friends were telling me about crypto. I was like, this is too shady. I don't want to get involved. It wasn't until 2016 that I got involved. And then I became obsessed, just like you, as it grew bigger and more people got involved. And it is so interesting that just like you, the first time I went to a crypto conference, that is when I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is like the people here, exactly just what you thought. It was like, people here are actually legit. These are scientists. These are people who are educated, who are backing it. So I just wanted to put that here, is like going to a crypto conference really makes the day and night. But here, you said that you got involved into ICO. So that to me is still, I mean, right at the beginning, maybe ICOs were fine, but now ICOs are like, kind of risky. So how did that go for you?
So initially, I mean, I was investing the first 1 or 2 months. I invested almost every ICO I could find. Any ICO I thought was good at that time, and that was making money. But my goal was to retire, right? To basically quit my job by the end of the year. So I was looking for big home runs, and they weren't really coming. Then I said, you know what? There has to be a better way, right? I worked with data, and I said, you know what? Let me look at the ICO data. So over the course of 1 or 2 weeks, I gathered as much ICO data as I could find on all the projects out there, then really try to find patterns in the data. And
so what type of data were you looking at?
So both qualitative and quantitative data points, right? So I'll go through and see how much money they raised, the total token supply, but I also go through and grade the teams and say, okay, was this a solid team? What other factors were really helping these projects perform well? And I just try to gather as much data as possible, put everything into a spreadsheet online on Google Sheets. And after a while, I said, you know what? I'm seeing patterns in these ICOs. The ones that perform well, I'm seeing a common pattern, right? And at a high level, the common patterns were they had solid teams, they had a product, right? They don't just want they just want white
It
papers.
wasn't just a white paper, it was an actual product.
And then also the total token supply, they were very, very modest, very, very humble, right? They weren't raising too much money. They weren't putting out way too many tokens. So I basically used the three sigma rule in stats just to kind of see, okay, what does the average good ICO look like? And I looked at every single data point. Then I would then take that and grade upcoming ICOs and see how far they'll deviate from each data point, how far they'll deviate from the mean of what's expected of a good ICO. And in August, I also had a channel, right? At that time, it was a very, very small channel. Under 500 people were following me. It was
On
a
YouTube?
channel, yeah, it was just a channel where I just share my experiences being an entrepreneur in the business world, working as a freelancer and such. I began making content on Bitcoin and crypto, right, for beginners. That kind of was my best video at that time. It got about 5,000 views. Then after the conference, I made a video on ICOs for beginners. And that's kind of what made me kind of go famous in the crypto world. That video ended up going viral. It had over 400,000 views on YouTube alone. And that kind of put me there in the map. That got me to 5, then eventually 10,000 followers on YouTube. And I also began doing live streams. So I had 2 live streams every single week. One was an AMA with my audience about crypto, and the other was just me doing ICO research. I would just press record, and for 2 to 3, sometimes even 4 hours live, I would just research ICOs while showing how I would score and rate these projects in my spreadsheet. So in August, I ended up scoring different ICOs, and I basically made like a list of my top ICOs at that time. And the top ICOs were ZRX, which is Zero OX project, and DNT, District OX project. And when they came out, those ICOs, Zero X did a 10x the first month, and DNT did like a 24x, meaning that $1,000 turned to $24,000. And that kind of made me go even more viral. They're saying, who's this crazy guy live streaming with this crazy spreadsheet? Then people
But weren't you scared that you're doing basically everything live and people can see your information? And were you careful? And I know I'm kind of touching, I'm leading you towards the next thing, but
I mean, I wasn't really scared because to me, I was just trying to be very transparent, because when I joined the space, there was no transparency. People would hide behind avatars, masks. You wouldn't know who you're dealing with. I was very, very transparent, told people my full name, where I worked. I was still working at IBM, my role. They knew if I did anything, they could call up my boss and say, hey, this guy did whatever. Right. So I was,
wait, are you the reason why? Because IBM is now very big on blockchain. And actually I interviewed Nitin from IBM as well on Diva on the Block. So are you the reason why they're interested?
I would say that IBM's always been pro blockchain way before me, right? So I can't take credit for that.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, just kind of make long story short, I began regularly reviewing projects, and in my spreadsheet, I would track my investments. I would track how much money I put in, the return, and then I also open source my spreadsheet to the whole world, right? So the whole world could see how I would rate projects, how much money I was making, and I was publicly keeping track of everything, kind of like a journal. So people saw me build my portfolio from initially 20,000, then all the way to the ICO Mania, ended up going to $5 million. So they saw my top picks investments like Icon, Wabi, Dragon Chain. So December 2017 is probably the month where I really, I guess, blew up in the crypto world, because while Bitcoin was going up and everybody was making money, the performances we were getting from just ICO investing and the success rate we had wasn't really seen in the space, because before, on average, 4 out of 5 ICO investments you would lose money on.
Yeah.
But using at that time, we were making money on 4 out of 5 of each ICO we invested in. And in December, we got 3 ICOs in the same month that had over 80x returns.
So you're saying is it by this time had you joined a hedge fund, or was it just you still?
So it's me, but I say we just kind of me and my community, right?
Yeah.
Because the community definitely played a big role, right? So during the live streams, they'll bring projects to me to kind of look at and score live. And some investments that were big, like Icon and One Chain, they came from the community, right? The community would say, okay, take a look at this project, right? So I always like to kind of think that they also played a factor, right?
Yeah.
So
No, that's amazing that you give them credit, right? So,
yes,
okay, so tell us about that story that everybody's burning to, and I know like you've talked about it over and over again,
yeah.
but
So the spreadsheet, it kind of goes back to the spreadsheet. So on a live stream one time, this is in 2018. I came back from a crypto world tour in South America, had a live stream, and I ended up getting hacked live on the live stream, right? And this is now kind of all over the news and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely not cool. I mean,
but the thing is you kept your cool. Like you literally people saw you live and you first you were not even paying attention to the live, like people were commenting, hey, did you just notice
yeah,
like $2 million just vanished out of your account? You're like, oh, what is this? You didn't even pay attention, right?
because initially I just thought it was somebody trolling me, right?
Yeah.
So I just ignored it. But when I couldn't log into my spreadsheet as I was live streaming, I knew something fishy was going on. So I abruptly ended the live stream and then checked, right? And then that's when I said, okay, yeah, somebody actually did hack me, right?
Do
So
you
that's,
think it had to do anything with you live streaming everything you're doing because you were on the map, you were a target?
no, I mean, yes, I was a public figure, but in that live stream, I think what really triggered them to kind of do that, because I did get some warnings earlier from some other projects that hackers were going through investor networks and they thought that came into our network and were trying to hack people in our network. So they were really tracking me and other investors for a while, right? They had basically already hacked us and we're just waiting for the right time to pull the trigger. So in that live stream, that's the live stream where I said that I would stop making everything I was doing so public. I was going to kind of go more private, right? And I think once they saw that,
Oh, so they're like, this is their last chance. So they,
yeah. So I think once I said that, that's when they pulled the trigger on that.
oh, wow. All right. So $2.5 million. That's a ton of money. Um, First, I mean, I cannot even put myself in your shoes because I feel like if that had happened to me, I probably would just freeze and would be like, I wouldn't be even able to move. So what were the thoughts in your head, and have you been able to recover? And what do you most importantly recommend to other people in the cryptocurrency industry?
Yeah, I mean, so when it happened, it was definitely a big kind of gut blow, gut wrench. It was gut wrenching. But I would say my reaction to it was, this sucks, right? I mean, but at the end of the day, right, I kind of have to handle the cards I was dealt, right? I was public, I was kind of out there and made myself a target, right? So, and people had warned me about this happening, right? So I basically took responsibility for the actions I had done, right? And then I also wasn't really secure with my security, right? There are definitely other ways for me to be more secure with storing my crypto, right? I was really just kind of going for the most convenient way. But now,
Right. So it sucks because so I try to be as transparent as possible as well. So I go live every Tuesday and I'm probably gonna make myself a target, but it's just within my community. I don't go on YouTube, it's with my community, with my inner circle people, but I share everything. Like they see my email address, everything, and I just teach, I show them exactly what I'm doing. And it's not only crypto, it's stocks. And I show them everything. And I just, you want to trust because you want to be transparent and you want to trust that everybody who's watching you, like you want to see the good in the world until damn something happens. You're like, ah, I can't see the good in the world anymore. So has that changed this perspective for you at all?
yes, yeah. I mean, for the last year, I've kind of been more reserved. I'm not so out there, right? To the point where some people think that I've kind of, I guess, gone missing or just not really creating content.
Yeah, we went and found you and put you back in the.
But I've just been busy building, right? Because for me, the biggest thing wasn't really the the money, and people find that crazy, because for me, I knew I had learned a skill, right? So I knew, okay, yes, it hurts and sucks that I've lost this money, but I still have this skill with me for the rest of my life.
Right.
So,
So you can build it again over and all over again from scratch. Because
so it's kind of like building a house, right? If you're a house builder and you've learned that skill, if a hurricane comes and builds your house and blows your house away, yes, that sucks, but you can always build a new house, right? What would suck even more is if you lost that skill.
right.
So
No,
to me,
that's a great perspective. And you have time on your side because
right?
you're young.
So
Right.
I was young as well. Plus, I also thought, man, this crypto market is gonna keep on going up and up and up, right? So because I had made the money so fast, I thought I could make it back again as fast, right? So I did end up recovering a small fraction of the money, but not everything, right? Just a small fraction of the money.
But
The
it's
rest,
still new. Like we still haven't hit that. Now it feels like at the beginning was just this fast bubble that kind of burst, but now we're building a foundation. So people who are now getting in, the future for them is probably even bigger. What do you think?
yeah, I mean, the future is definitely huge, right? Looking at the World Economic Forum says that they project Bitcoin or rather tokenized assets, the market cap to equal 10% of the global GDP by 2027. That amounts to about $9 trillion, right? And then the Royal Bank of Canada expects the crypto market as a whole to become about $10 trillion. And right now we're at about $225 billion. So that means in its current form right now, crypto still has room for over 40x growth, right? And so there's definitely still lots of potential growth in crypto.
So that's how you keep your cool. You go back, you do your studies, and now you have a new skill, which is how to secure yourself. So, what are the things that you're working on right now? You mentioned that you're building. First, are you still working at IBM?
No, so I ended up quitting my job in September 2017 at IBM, went full time into crypto. I've been full time into crypto for the last 2 years now. And it
No
was
regrets there?
no best thing I ever did. I mean, because as soon as I quit IBM and went into crypto, a lot more business opportunities came. I was able to go on our crypto world tour in 2018, hosting conferences. We did 35 countries in 12 months, hosting events with my community as large as 1,000 people in Moscow, Russia, in London, and Amsterdam, every continent pretty much except Antarctica we were on. So to us, that was really a great way to build our network, meet our community, meet our audience. Ended up making even more money just from being full-time into crypto because the opportunities are there and I can take advantage of them right there, right then.
So, you're originally from Uganda.
Yes.
And crypto is actually getting pretty huge around that area in Africa in general. How is it? How it is in Uganda? Have you actually gone back there?
Yeah, so I was there this year for the Africa Blockchain Conference. I was there last year as well.
Mhm.
And it's very, very pro crypto, right? Because CZ of Binance went to Uganda for the last Africa Blockchain Conference. And that's where he met the president. And that's where they said, hey, come into Uganda. We'll welcome you with open arms. And Binance opened their first fiat gateway in Uganda.
Do you see that as the reason why it's so popular in Uganda is because it gives the people power, right? Cryptocurrency gives people the power as opposed to the government, or it doesn't really have to do with that?
No, not really. In Uganda, I mean, I think it's just, it does give them some economic freedom, right? But I think kind of like most other parts of the world, most people are using crypto to speculate, right? So for them, at least the people I met, they're mainly investors, right? You have investors, then you have those who are trying to use blockchain for good, blockchain to really, whether it's remittances, sending money abroad, and kind of that's probably the biggest use case right now in Africa for blockchain.
Right, because well, being from Iran myself, like I see that, and it's interesting because the Iranian government is also kind of like playing with cryptocurrency, and they ban it, and they say no, it's cool. But for the people, to me, that is a power because it gives people the power kind of outside the government itself because it's borderless, it's permissionless, and where when governments can be kind of oppressive, it can give people the power, and that's why to me that's kind of interesting. But what was I going to ask? My daughter just woke up, started crying. Sorry, I lost the track of my thoughts. um, Yeah, so you were saying, so you're now working on projects.
Yes, yeah, so I'm taking what I was doing with the spreadsheet. So at the peak of the cryptomania in January 2018, my spreadsheet was being accessed, was being viewed by over 1 million unique people a month. So the demand just for the spreadsheet itself was insane, and
Wow.
it was just a spreadsheet, so it could not scale. So the demand was too much. I ended up taking it down because I kind of saw that where crypto was going, it cannot sustain those levels of growth, and I could see that the way ICOs were going, they were eventually going to crash, which is what ended up happening. So I took it down and said, okay, you know what? Let me see how I can create something that can scale to a much wider audience, to millions of people. So for the last 2 years or so, I've been planning, researching, and for this year, building a product called Tokenmetrics, which is taking what I've been doing with the spreadsheet, but expanding it not just for ICOs, but providing data-driven ratings on all tokens and cryptocurrencies out there, even those already trading live on exchanges. So right now, we're planning to launch that this month, right? So if anybody goes to tokenmetrics.com, we'll do a limited
Can you
launch.
spell that?
Tokenmetrics,
All right, let me actually brought it up over here.
tokenmetrics.com. So we're doing a limited launch to just 2,000 people. So if you sign up there, we'll send out the information. And the idea is for us to really, so we're bringing in human capital and experience. So me, myself, from IBM and my background in data.
Is this it?
Yes, yeah, that's it. We've also hired people from Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan to come in and help us do research and due diligence on projects, from technical analysis to the technology and code reviews to fundamental analysis, everything to really provide something that can help investors with due diligence in terms of asking, hey, is this project legit or not? Is this project a scam or not?
So
But
here is your cryptocurrency investing, but you mentioned that you're mainly speculating. So what is the time frame that you trade? Is it mainly like day trading, or do you hold as well?
I mean, so I don't trade, right? So I'm more of a, I would say my time frame is probably anywhere from 3 months to a few years of holding
Okay.
investment, right? So I'm kind of more of a long-term investor in a
All
way.
right. So are you taking profit right now, or are you just building up at the current prices?
I cashed out some time back. So right now, I've just kind of been investing into building Tokenmetrics, but I think now is really a time to kind of start buying in. I've bought some Bitcoin here and there, but with Tokenmetrics, we're trying to bring human capital and the data, and we're taking this to the next level by bringing in machine learning. So using machine learning, deep machine learning and neural networks, without getting too technical, but basically AI, to help rate cryptocurrencies based on all the data points we have and back test it and see, okay, how accurate is this model, and can this help us make more money?
Where do you get the data? I mean, so the thing is, machine learning, AI are some words that some people just throw out very lightly. These are like as a buzzword. So how deep, and I know we're getting a little bit technical, but first of all, where do you get the data? And how are you building like, are you partnering up with data companies and AI companies, or are you building everything from scratch on your own? How deep do you get with this?
Very, very deep. So both, right? So we do take we have both qualitative and quantitative data points. So
From where?
the quantitative data points is data like from CoinMarketCap, right? From other APIs. But then the qualitative data points we have is the human capital, right? Having our team of analysts, myself, investors from Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan come in and actually go through and manually rate these products and score them on
So you
over.
actually hire Goldman Sachs for this? You pay them?
Yes, yeah. So we have actual people on our team, the staff that goes through and looks at and manually scores every single cryptocurrency as well. Then we tie those two together with the other data points from CoinMarketCap and other APIs. Then we ingest that into the AI and have it learn, right? So having both the human and the AI element.
So, I mean, that for me is pretty interesting. I'm going to bring up one of your competitors because I like to, to trigger things. So, have you heard of Crypto Briefing Symmetry?
Yes, I have. Yes.
So, what do you think of those, of them?
I'm not sure. I don't think they're using machine
They're
learning.
not, no, but they are doing a lot of, they're mainly basing it on human capital and analyzing it.
I would say for us, kind of like my spreadsheet, what we're known for, we're going to be very, very transparent and actually show people how accurate our readings are. So for example, for the last 3 months, we can say our Bitcoin 30-day price prediction models was 90% accurate for the last 30 days and 88% accurate for the last 2 months and 81% accurate for the last 3 months.
So
Right? So
what happens is if everybody uses your points, that can shift the markets.
yes, well, I mean, we think we've kind of solved that, right? So the spreadsheet I have was shifting markets. But with this is going to be, right now we're doing a limited launch, right? That's why it's constrained. And it's also a premium product, right? So not everybody can use it. We do
So only people with the money can come in.
have a free tier, right? So to have info on Bitcoin is free. But if you'd like to have info for the top 20, top 100, and even cryptocurrencies outside the top 100 market cap, yes, then this is a premium plan.
So you have basically a lot of information about, we can basically, it's safe to say, almost every cryptocurrency. There are 2,000 of them. How,
So we only have the top 100, and we're
that's
slowly.
all you go. Okay. And so what do you see 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Do you still think we're going to have 100 cryptocurrencies, or do you think they're going to vanish and we're going to have a handful of like 5 to 10 cryptocurrencies out there that are actually still survive it?
I think we'll have even more. I think we're not getting any fewer currencies at the moment.
Why would there be more cryptocurrencies?
Because humans are very, very creative and they always find ways to innovate and do other things, kind of like in regular equities markets, right?
Right, but I mean, cryptocurrency, if you go, there are like 5 categories for blockchain. I understand, like there's so many different use cases for blockchain. You can go from agriculture to medicine to taxes, so you can use blockchain for almost anything. But cryptocurrency is a currency that you can either use it to pay fast, or you can use it to as a store of value, like Bitcoin. How many more use cases for cryptocurrency can you find, or do you need?
Infinite, right? I mean, in terms of what I think is actually useful, right? Definitely few. I think in the future, kind of like now, only about 1% will actually be useful. But I think for the other 99%, for the long tail, they'll cater to very specific niches of things, right? Kind of like with credit card loyalty points, right? There's so many credit cards companies out there, but they're always issuing new cards for anything, right? So anybody with a community may want to create their own cryptocurrency just for that community. So I think there'll always be infinite amount of cryptocurrencies focused purely on the long tail. Kind of like with websites and the internet. The internet is really what has changed the entire world because it caters on the long tail. Anybody in the world, no matter how small your idea is, you can find other people around the world who also like that idea, right? Being able to connect people with a long tail and make it scale.
So out of all these 100, top 100, you mentioned Bitcoin a bunch of times, but what is your big cap favorite, most favorite big cap cryptocurrency, and your most favorite kind of venture capitalist up and coming cryptocurrency?
Most favorite? I mean, so I don't really have favorites. I just go with the data. I'm kind of
All right. So what are your, I'm trying to get the information for free out here. What do your data suggest?
Okay. I mean, let me see if I can actually pull it up. In terms of what we like, so in particular, Bitcoin is king. Bitcoin is still king. This is looking at all the data points combined, right? So the fundamentals, the technical analysis, the technology, the machine learning, everything combined. In terms of the best currencies out there, obviously not financial advice. We like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, Binance, and Cosmos. Right?
Ah, you like Cosmos. Oh, that has not been on my list. Why? Why Cosmos?
I mean, Cosmos, the fundamentals are good. The technology is very, very, very good. Now, all these 5 I've mentioned are for this particular point in time, right? This is just factors in technical analysis.
So these are not for a long term. You're not particularly suggesting that these are the ones that you want to hold for like 10 years. These are the stuff that are working right now.
Well, they work right now, but we also think they work long term. However, with us, we take a active portfolio management approach, meaning that something can be good, but you may not have to hold it forever, right? Kind of like Bitcoin, right? Let's say Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the best cryptocurrency out there, but it makes no sense to hold Bitcoin when it went down from $19,000 all the way down to $3,000, right? Our strategy is to sell the top, wait for it to bottom back down, and then buy back in.
So do you really think that your machine learning is going to help you really score the bottom and the top?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. I mean, because this is not news, right? Last year in 2018, Bitcoin was down 70%, while quant funds, according to PwC, were up 8%. So even in a bear market, quants made money, meaning that funds, crypto funds that leverage machine learning, stats, algorithm trading still made money because they're able to mitigate their risk. Right? Sure, we can be perfect with timing the top and the bottom, but the goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to maybe be 80% right. Right? So maybe you see Bitcoin coming down and you from 19,000 and you get out at 16,000 and buy back in at 6,000. That still saves you money. Right? So that's really the goal. And eventually we're in the process of applying to become a SEC licensed investment advisor. So once that happens, we can really help people and give them better advice and turn this into a robo-advisor. So something like a Vanguard, like a Betterment, a Wealthfront, and really do the trading and portfolio management for people ourselves on the platform. So that's something we're actively working towards becoming.
So John McAfee is famous for saying that mathematically, his mathematical system suggests that Bitcoin is going to 1 million by the end of 2020. Does your mathematical and AI machine suggest the same thing?
We've now predicted out to 2020. We only predict for a month.
That's super long term.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible. But yeah, our model has not predicted that far yet, but maybe down the road.
And while I have you here, because a lot of my audience are super Cardano fans, what do you think of them? Actually, and feel free to trash them if you want to. We don't. It's not like I'm affiliate or anything.
Cardano is in our top 10 right now in this particular point in time in terms of cryptocurrencies. The fundamentals are all right. They could be better, but it's better than most. The technology is definitely solid, we think, right? In terms of all the cryptocurrencies we've looked at in the top 100, Cardano has the 4th best technology score.
All right, I'm glad to hear that because I'm actually a Cardano fan. Okay, that was super awesome. Thank you so much, Ian, for taking the time. I know you're super busy, like launching something brand new, entrepreneurs. It's super time consuming. I appreciate your transparency. I appreciate you being here and helping the community and helping our community really learn a little bit more, just a tiny bit more, even if it helped 10 people. I would really, that would be a success for me, and I'm sure that would be a success for you as well, because we're here to really encourage the community to get involved and learn more and make money at the end of the day and have better lives. So thank you so much again for joining. You guys watching at home, go to tokenmetrics.com and get subscribed so that you know when the product is launched. It sounds super exciting, and I'm actually going to subscribe right now as well, so I know what's up as well. Again, thank you so much, Ian. You guys watching at home, I'll see you in the next Diva on the Block.